Now we will be welcoming Antoni, co-founder of Aleph Zero, who will be presenting Aleph Zero zkOS.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the inaugural OpenFi event. We're very excited to be a part of this movement. I wanted to give you a quick rundown on what's new in Aleph Zero and generally talk a bit about the privacy in Web3. What are the benefits? And I have to be careful about the tables. So, without further ado, um, the fact that privacy is normal, we've all heard it by now. I believe this is something that we pretty much are all accustomed to, but the thing that are not being talked about loudly enough primarily is the fact that privacy is just difficult. It's difficult to use, it's difficult to work with, it's generally difficult to build also. So either, regardless if you're a user or a developer, you're just gonna have most likely hard time using this for whatever it is that you're doing, especially in a non-custodial way. Um, We've identified like the four main challenges that we feel are sort of problematic from the perspective of on-chain privacy adoption. The first one would be poor UX. So essentially, from a user standpoint, it's just difficult to use privacy-enhanced non-custodial apps. It's not simple, it's not intuitive, you have to learn how to do it. Then there is a problem of simply those apps being quite expensive or the underlying tech stacks requiring you to pay a lot of fees. From a development standpoint, the problem is, for instance, distribution, where you kind of have to build an app from scratch if you want the features to be private, if you want the app to be privacy enhanced. Then the incentives for privacy beyond it being a fundamental human right are also unclear, especially from the economy or usability standpoint. And then there is this entire area of compliance that we all talk about, but so far we only have provided best effort basis solutions as an industry. Um, and now our goal as Aleph Zero is to essentially go ahead and help fix the challenges that we've talked about on the previous slide. So how do you make privacy easy to use? How do you make it cheap? How do you make it so that users are not afraid to use privacy enhanced products on chain? And essentially what can be done about this from the perspective of Aleph Zero. This is like a very, very high level design of our refreshed architecture. So, starting in 2018, we were working on an L1 that was, it still is, of course, using WASM as a virtual machine, and then our own consensus protocol and the substrate framework. A couple of weeks ago, we've launched a testnet that is an L2 that we've built using Arbitrum Orbit together with Gelato. And on top of that, we're building a suite of privacy products that are essentially going to be geared towards product developers and the ZK developers. Um, Now, this is the first step. So the name is bold, and it's going to take a while until we deliver the entire stack. But what you can use now is a very fast proving on the testnet. So our R&D managed to get the proving time, depending on the device, but it's all on consumer grade devices, to under a second. So you can use MacBook Airs and essentially prove everything in around a second for 50% of users and below 2 seconds for 80% of users. Now the stack is going to be ready more or less in the first half of next year. And this is going to be geared towards first product devs so that they can use privacy enhancing features in their existing apps. And then for ZK developers, where we're going to essentially start with ZK proof verification and several useful ZK black boxes that make the development just easier. Then the rundown is on the EVM. So this stack currently lives on the EVM network. And since this is powered by the Arbitrum Orbit tech, you're going to have support for both Solidity and Rust-based smart contracts. It's a relatively typical EVM stack, but we have added ZK precompiles to it, which is what makes it, I would say, unique. The WASM chain that we have had is still very much there. It's also going to serve as a DA layer for the entire ecosystem starting in November, December. And generally speaking, just a brief also rundown on who's building it. So currently we've got over 50 people in the team. The network is validated by over 160 validators. The community size varies, but altogether I would say that we're around 200K. And collectively within the ecosystem, we've got around 50 teams working on different products, apps, solutions, integrations. So it's looking quite well. Now onto the use cases. So what you can actually do with this and what might be interesting for you as a user of privacy enhanced apps. And we can start with Darkverse. It's a RPG game built by a team that was previously involved in projects like, games like Cyberpunk 2077 or The Witcher. And the idea is that they're building a very dark world, essentially, that you can enter in a standard RPG basis, and whatever happens in Darkverse stays in Darkverse because you can interact with certain elements of the game and keep your interactions entirely private. Then we have Syncra, which is a DAO SaaS product that is going to be offering private voting, essentially. So whenever you want to interact with governance, you can do so in a privacy enhanced way, just to mimic how it works in real life. And then obviously we have IDOS that we're working with on zero knowledge ID technology so that users will be able to selectively disclose what they want to and keep what they don't need to share to themselves. One other use case that we will be commencing quite soon is OneUSD. This is a new stablecoin built by team behind Archblock, and we will also make this more privacy enhanced with the goal of boosting e-commerce use cases and, for instance, applications such as payroll, crypto payroll, basically. Then we definitely continue the ecosystem funding program. So if anyone is working on privacy enhanced apps or is looking to explore this area, we're very happy to have you and we're very happy to talk. The team is going to be there for the remainder of the day. If you're interested in some apps that are currently deployed or about to be deployed, please head to alephzero.org/ecosystem. And now just a quick note about compliance, because this is quite an important topic whenever we talk about on-chain privacy and finance. So currently, ZK is not necessarily, let's say, respected or acknowledged by the regulators. So we operate on a best effort basis. And with that in mind, the entire network is indexed by CoinFirm, which was recently acquired by Luca. And then we, of course, have IDOS. So essentially, whenever you want to use the privacy enhancing features for finance use cases, then you would have to generate the IDOS profile and go through the user onboarding that way. And only if you will have that profile, you will be able to use the privacy features of the network. And that's pretty much the rundown. In case there are any questions, I'm around. And thank you. Happy to be here.